All right, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tyler Gates, aka TAG Law 205, back at you with another video here. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of the subscribers, the people that are sharing my videos, the people that are sharing my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my YouTube, my Twitter, even my new website. You guys have been doing numbers on those. Thank you so much. As you already know, we're going to stay live, continue to do what we're going to do. Today's video is about the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. But first, this is the first part. We're going to get into the Western Conference Finals first. So I'm very, very much intrigued to finally see who's going to break out between Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to see who is going to be that superstar guy. Now, once again, we can hark back to that interview where Stephen A. had Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards said between him, Shai, and Luka, who he sees as the future of the NBA, he's better than both Shai and Luka. And to most people's arguments, you can agree on that, right? I see them as the three best. In my opinion, I see them as the three best players future-wise for the NBA. Of course, Tatum is definitely in that round. Tatum is a face of the NBA. Most people don't want to say Devin Booker is a face, but he's notable as well, even though he is up and down struggles with the Suns throughout the years. He is still a face in the NBA when we talk about future. Of course, you cannot forget the current future, Trae Young, like I said, Luka Doncic, Paolo Banchero, LaMelo Ball. Think about all of these different players that you have coming in. Zion Williamson, even Cooper Flag coming in with, of course, Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, that draft class, and Zachary Richardson, Alex Sarr, the French draft class. You think about faces of the NBA and what they could look like 5-10 years down the road. And, of course, those three are going to be, of course, with Tatum and others, are going to be the premier top tier to meet in the NBA. Now, Timberwolves, Thunder, like I said, game one is tonight, so get your popcorn ready. Ant versus Shai, Timberwolves, Thunder. I don't think we've ever seen it before. I am going to have my predictions out. I'm not going to give you a prediction right now. But if I had to give you one, it would be Timberwolves. I don't know how many games. I do believe that the Timberwolves will win. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins. Somebody's going to win their first championship this year other than the Knicks. OKC, Minnesota, or Indiana. Somebody's going to win their first championship out of those three, right? And you want to be able to gauge, you want to be able to see what players can close games, who can essentially lead you to a championship. And this is the time for them to step up and shut up all the critics, shut up different analysts around the globe to say, hey, Tyrese Halliburton is not overrated, or Anthony Edwards can't shoot threes, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't really pass like that, but he averages almost 10 assists a game. So I'm confused on that. But that's another part of the video. I want to kind of get into the importance of this Western Conference Finals. These are two small market teams. For one, the NBA, I know they may not like this. This is two small market teams, Minnesota and Oklahoma. You have Anthony Edwards versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, two stars in their own right. Kentucky versus Georgia, SEC. We can go on for days about their connections in this series. Minnesota, obviously, with the Kevin Love, KG, Karl Anthony Towns, big man, big three of all time. That's their top three players. And to have a player like Anthony Edwards come in and finally, hopefully, bring them a championship to that city, I think will hush the conversation and will make him arguably the greatest Timberwolves of all time. I definitely think he is number 2, right behind KG. I think at this point he probably has surpassed Cat and Kevin Love. So, like I said, to each his own. OKC, obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has not surpassed Westbrook or nor Durant as the greatest Thunder of all time. I guess we could say Harden because Harden wasn't there for that long. You have to think about other Thunder players as well, like Serge Ibaka as well. Take him into perspective. But I do think Shai is number 3 on that list. I do think he is number 3 of greatest Thunder of all time behind Westbrook and Durant. And hopefully that will raise his bar as possibly being named the greatest Thunder of all time, even though Westbrook will still take that mantle due to what KD did to them back in 2016 by leaving them for Golden State. Also, the whole thing with the Tyrese Halliburton overrated situation. We've seen the Pacers kill the Knicks before. We have seen a former Pacer kill the Knicks before in 8 seconds, 8 points in 8.9 seconds. I don't have to bring that up. Obviously, you're talking about Reggie Miller versus the Knicks in 95 in that game 1. Yes, I understand. It may have been a push-off, but it still counted. Tyrese Halliburton in game 7 last year to eliminate the Knicks in Madison Square Garden did the similar thing. He did the same thing almost that Reggie Miller did. He killed them with silence. Yes, you had people talking on the side. He pointed at them. I know you watched the game. I know you saw it. But guess what? At the end of the day, Tyrese Halliburton is not overrated. He is going to keep proving why the Pacers are back. He is going to keep proving why he's not overrated. He's going to keep proving why that trade from him going from Sacramento to Indiana looks like one of the worst trades in NBA history. I think it's the worst trade in Sacramento Kings history, if you ask me. And I think it's one of the better ones in Indiana Pacers history. I think it's top 5 up there for sure. And in terms of all-time players for them, Paul George, still number 2. Reggie Miller, still number 1. I think Danny Granger's in that top 5 as well still. Halliburton has to be in the top 7 because there's been so many great Pacers players. So, I mean, he should be in the top 5 right now, but if he elevates them and win a championship along with Miles Turner, who's also an all-time great Pacer, we can see both of them possibly jump into the top 7, maybe even in the top 5 of all-time Pacers, with Paul George still being up there because Paul George is still Paul George and what he did for that city. Danny Granger, you know, for the few years that he was healthy, putting up 25 a game, right? Reggie Miller's always going to be the greatest Pacer of all time unless Halliburton just goes on a crazy run. But Reggie Miller made that city. Paul George reinvigorated that city. Tyrese Halliburton brought the city back. Now, of course, we can say Victor Oladipo, he did his part. Victor Oladipo kind of revived that city as well, being a essential toss-in for not really a toss-in, but the headline player in the Paul George trade to OKC in the 2017 offseason, as you guys remember. The reason why I'm saying all this is because tie all those storylines in. Tie all those storylines in. They all have a chance. These 3 teams out of the 4, not the Knicks. These 3 teams, Minnesota, Indiana, OKC, these 3 superstars have a chance to etch their name in their franchise's history as one of the best players of all time, if not the greatest players to ever come through that franchise, if a championship is brought to their city. That's what I want people to recognize. Now, I know I'm talking about Indiana, but this is partially about who can be the greatest player of all time on their team. Now, before I end this video, I want to say that the Thunder must win this series. Not so much the Timberwolves. The Thunder must win this series. I want the Timberwolves to win, but I think the Thunder have to win. It's a must win. Contract extensions are coming up with Chet and J-Dub and others. And Jay Will too, right? Isaiah Joe, he has an option coming up. It's getting crazy out here, right? You're going to have to pay Casey Wallace next offseason. You have to think about all of these things, but not only the paydays, they must win now. This is their best chance to win it now. They've been rebuilding since 2019 when Damian Lillard basically shut the lights out on any opportunity for them to win a championship with that current core of Paul George and Russell Westbrook and that core. Basically, that shot led them to go in the rebuild mode, and now they have a treasure chest worth of haul draft picks. One of the greatest rebuilds I think we've ever seen happen in the NBA, and they have a chance to capitalize on that, win a championship, and then go use those draft picks in the offseason to go get a Lowry Marketing, to go get a Joel Embiid if he's available, to go get a Giannis Antetokounmpo if he wants to come to that smaller market, right? To pair with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A lot of things the Thunder could do. There's a lot of things the Thunder could do. But it all rides on this year. Can they win a championship? I'm tired of seeing people say, oh, their rebuild's going great. They're not rebuilding no more. They are a contending team. Those draft picks got to get shipped off somewhere else. You're not going to have any more room to keep bringing in draft picks like this. Topic, you trade him somewhere where he's going to play. Ousmane Dieng, trade him somewhere where he's going to play. I mean, hey, hello, you know? But for Minnesota, the team I want to win, you traded Karl Anthony Towns. Everybody, including myself, thought that was one of the worst trades in history. We thought that sent shockwaves. And then for Julius Randle to come out and prove everybody wrong, I got the Timberwolves winning. They're just on a hot streak. Nickeil Alexander-Walker putting up some superb, under superb stats like he always does, but comes up clutch with those threes whenever he does. Anthony Edwards, we already know the brother can play. Julius Randle, we know the brother can play. Naz Reid, we're going to need you to step up. Rudy Gobert needs to block shots and get rebounds, have that 20-20 game. You need to average more 20-20 games like you did against the Lakers. You have pieces off the bench, Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. When are these two rookies going to come into play? I feel like these two rookies are going to come into play this series. They're going to need them. The Western Conference Finals, you're going to need Rob Dillingham. You're going to need Terrence Shannon Jr., right? Rob Dillingham can catch up to a guy like a Casey Wallace. You can have those two going at it, as Casey Wallace is the better defender, but Rob Dillingham, man, you can't stop him when he gets on microwave. We've seen it at OTE. We've seen it at Kentucky. Okay? We've seen the dude. We know he can play. He was the 8th overall pick, for Christ's sakes. That's why Minnesota traded for him. That's why they traded a future first for him, because they know what he can do. So, essentially what I'm saying is that the use of those two rookies is going to have to come into play either in game 1 or game 2. Because if you wait till game 3, it's going to be too late. You're going to have to shock them with a game plan, Timberwolves. Shock them with a game plan that they weren't prepared for. Shock them with a game plan that they don't understand. Hey, maybe we could, you know what I mean? Maybe we could utilize and then make it make sense, Minnesota. Make the game plan make sense. You're going to have to change it up against the number 1 team in the NBA, the number 1 team in the West, OKC. You're going to have to change up the game plan. It's not going to work like it did against Golden State. It's not going to work like it did against the Lakers. We're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP or MVP candidate, J-Dub, one of the most underrated players in the NBA, Chet Holmgren, one of the best big men in the NBA. Those 3 alone going to give you problems. Casey Wallace, he's going to give you a problem, right? Jay Will, big body down there, just banging with you. He's going to give you a problem. They have pieces off the bench. Isaiah Joe shooting for 3, he's going to be a problem. Lou Dort is always a problem. So what you're going to have to do if you are Minnesota, keep the ball in Anthony Edwards' hands, make him essentially the point guard for some plays, have Mike Conley come off some screens, do what you got to do in order to win this year if you are Minnesota. But also, OKC must win this year. So it's the difference. OKC must win versus we want Minnesota to win. It's the difference. It's the difference. But that's all for this video. I'm going to do the Eastern Conference Finals video right after this, so stay tuned for both of these videos coming out today. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who do you think is going to win this series? Do you think the Thunder is going to finally get over that hump, go back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012, or do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves could finally break through, go to the NBA Finals, and win their first championship, or OKC win their first championship? Who will it be? Let me know down below, and stay live, y'all.